Welcome, one and all, to the Race Spec PS Pacific Tier 1 Saturday Endurance League Round 8 at Le Castellet, the Paul Ricard circuit in France. This 5.8 kilometer high-speed circuit with 2 DRS detection zones, 3 long straights with 6 corners to the left and 9 corners to the right. And with me tonight, I have my good old fantabulous friend Joshsamben, but he's just sorting out a few technical issues. He'll join us when he is ready. Yeah, in sunny old France, by the looks of it at the moment, no weather issues in qualifying. I'll just get a few of our bits and bobs up as we see the first couple of cars heading out onto the track already. What's going on here? Whoa, CABF routers all over the place. What's happened here? There's been a bit of disaster into turn 1 already. Some early drama. It looks like he's got going again as just letting the other car go past there. That's, yeah. Sure what happened there. Anyways, on we go. On we go, and yeah, he's what's our first car out at the moment is the Ferrari of Noah. He's just on his outlap here, and yeah, just bear with us until we get the co-coms sorted. Again, not sure what's going on with that, but I'm sure he will join us when he is ready, so you'll just be listening to my beautiful voice until he joins in. And I just want to mention, before we get too into the thick of it in these couple of laps, this weekend we will be, our driver interviewee of this weekend will be Silderfor in the Red Bull, so we'll be keeping a close eye on him throughout this qualifying and race session. Let's just stick on board with the Ferrari of Noah as he's just lining up to get onto his first flying lap. And also, just before he starts, I wanted to mention Ventani, a new driver for this season in the Alfa Romeo. He has got that seat permanently, the Alfa Romeo, as Noah starts off the first lap of the session here in France, heading down the start-finish straight, breaking around the 100-meter board, getting it nicely hooked up there on the first turn 1 apex. Nicely rides over that curb too. Absolutely beautifully done to start off his first lap, and see how it goes through into the end of sector 1, holding it through 5th gear, carrying plenty of speed into this little tricky section. And it's so important now to get a clean exit coming out of here, as you're going to be running down this long DRS straight heading into the chicanes of turn 8 and 9, but he gets a nice run coming through down there. And yeah, falling down this straight, picking up to almost 200 miles per hour, and then flicks it in 4th gear into the turn 8-9 chicane. And also another really important to get a nice exit coming out through here, working up through the gears. No DRS in this section. He's gone purple, but he is the first car on the track, trying to not scrub off any speed through this long corner. And this is the tricky last sector now, coming through this section. All these high-speed long corners right on the edge of track limits. They're absolutely maximizing the track. Really good to see this from the Ferrari driver, and I think this lap he's looking on at the minute is going to be a pretty strong lap now, and just got to keep it nice and tidy through this tricky slow section. Don't lock up here. Yes, nicely hits that apex, bit too wide on the exit there on the rumble strips, but otherwise clean through that section, heads down to the line, and what will the first time of the day be? A 29.6 as we see now the rest of the cars coming down. Who's going to be the next one to come across the line here? Silderfort in the Red Bull. What can he do? 30.2, puts him in P2 at the moment. And then who else have we got coming around the lap? We've got an Alpha, I wonder if that's Ventani coming around. It is. He is a 30.3, just 1/10 shy of Silderfort there, and to hold on to P3 there. A good run from the debutante of the weekend. So yeah, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on Ventani there, because like I said, it's his first race at the endurance tier. And you know what? We might as well just cut straight to the chase there and get our interviewee of the weekend on the chat here, and have a little talk to him. Silderfort, are you there? How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I might just turn you up a tiny bit there, just to make sure. How was that first lap for you?
Quite shit. I made like 5 mistakes.
Oh no, that's not good. Well, I'm sure. Well, that'll make it, plenty of room for improvement. Then,
Yeah.
what are you sort of aiming for time-wise?
A low 29.
Okay, alrighty. Well, hopefully that'll come along for you. As we see, looks like your teammate there has done a whoopsie down at the end of the first sector. Hopefully he can get going after that. Yeah, I think he should be all right. So, how long have you been racing at Race Spec? Let's start off with the formalities there.
So this is my first season at Race Spec. Okay, so season 6, my first season.
Wow, look at that, a freshie, and you race in endurance and anything else?
Endurance and Elite Series on Sunday.
Elite Series, and is that correct that you drive with no assists?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh wow! I mean, props to you, lad. It's great to see no assist drivers. I think it's a great challenge, and it's really fulfilling as well. I think.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And you're on a wheel, are you?
Yep, on the G29.
G29, a very popular wheel from this series that we've been talking to. Everyone absolutely loving the G29, a perfect starter wheel, I think, for people getting into sim racing. And you're quite an interesting chappie because you are well, the only driver in this tier, I believe, but also one of the few drivers racing in the Pacific tier who is not actually living in Australia.
Yeah, but I'm close by, I guess. In Singapore.
Yes, yeah, very close by. Still in the Pacific region, but not on mainland Australia. And this Singapore. So you've been to the Grand Prix then?
Yeah, missing the Grand Prix currently since COVID.
Yeah.
Very excited for them to come back this year.
Coming back? Did you say it's coming back?
Yeah, it's coming back this year.
Oh,
very excited.
Yes. And are you going to be going there?
Maybe, hopefully.
Maybe.
Yeah. Tickets are not cheap at all.
Fair enough. And how long have you been racing with the F1 games for?
So I started in late 2019, so about 2.5 years now.
2.5 years, so a little bit of experience there. And you've been following F1 since?
I've been following F1 since 2017.
2017, so really stuck in the hybrid era there with the Mercedes dominance. But that's not your who's your favourite driver, favourite team then, I guess?
Favorite driver is Lando Norris, and favorite team is McLaren.
McLaren, even though you're in a Red Bull though. So
yeah.
That's your. Is that your? Would you say that's your second favourite or?
No. I just find the Red Bull nicer to drive.
Yes. They're the famously good car with the aero, the Red Bull, and but you don't like the McLaren to drive then?
No, not really.
Oh, fair enough. And so tell us about, I guess, your track preferences. What's your favourite track and least favourite track?
So my favourite track is Zandvoort in Netherlands. Very nice track. I love the flow of it. Very undulating. That's not a word. Undulating. Very fun. And my least favourite track would be Abu Dhabi. The curbs there are just horrendous. You hit one and you're off balance ready, so it's not fun at all.
Yes, yeah. I have to agree with you on that one there. I despise that track also. And so what do you reckon your sort of targets and aims are for this season? I mean, you're currently sitting in a pretty good position. You've been very consistent throughout this season, sitting in P8 at the moment. Is that your target?
Yeah, target's about like a top 8 finish. Anything higher than 8, I'll be happy already.
Good. Well, I think you one of the few guys who's been very consistent, so definitely a good chance of that being realized. And you're just coming up to the end of your outlap at the moment, and you're happy to give us a commentary lap.
Yep.
Okay, well, I will give the floor to you then as you start onto this lap.
Alright, so here we are at Horicard at the French Grand Prix. Coming up to turns 1 and 2 now, it's a high speed chicane. Going to be breaking down in fifth gear. Use all of the curve in turn 1, all of the curve in turn 2, Be careful with the traction on exit, it's really easy to lose the car there. Going to turn 3 now, I'm going to keep it in 7th gear. Braking at 75 meters, down to 4th gear, down to 3rd gear, I'm going to use all of the curb. Slow the car down for this slow corner here, structure back up into 3rd, structure back up into 4th, trying to get a good exit for the long straight. Bring the car back to the middle, tip this curve here. Going to open up DRS now on the Mistral straight. But I can finally catch my breath. My god. I'm going to push the cane here, I'm going to brake at 100 meters. Down to 4th gear, pick the car back in. 3rd gear, 4th gear, back to early on the power. Now I'm going to go into the high speed corner here, steepness. Going to be turning at the 15 meter board. Take the apex, turn out. This corner here can brake really late. The apex, immediately on the brakes, hooks the car through. Shift up to 5th gear to get the traction. This corner here, late apex as well. It's off camber. A little bit of a lock up, that's fine. Beat all the common exit. This 7th gear now, we'll be braking right after this curve ends. Gonna hold a tight line here on the power and right back on brakes. And 1st gear, structure back all the way up to 3rd. And that is a lap of the Power Card circuit.
Very nice, and that is P7 there with a 29.9, a couple of tenths off the cars in front, and it's very tight just above you there. There's 3 drivers with a 29.6, so if you can crack that 29.5, you're in a good position there.
Yeah.
How did that feel? How did that feel? Yeah, catch your breath, yeah. You were frantic there, I was impressed with that, letting you go.
Eminem ain't got nothing on me. I'm the best rapper.
And yeah, so you can improve on that. What do you reckon?
Yeah, maybe like 3 tenths.
3 tenths. Well, that's all you need. 3 tenths puts you right in that. You'll see when you come in the pits, both of the Ferrari drivers are on identical times of a 129.653. So you know, if you do the 3 tenths, you're right in there.
Damn. Okay.
Well then, thanks for having a chat. And I might just ask you a couple of final questions regarding setup and strategy. Do you feel like imparting what kind of downforce levels have you been going through with?
So I'm using 11.8 wings.
Wow.
It's a little bit high, but it works. Helps with overs here.
And strategy-wise?
Strategy, I'm not sure. Probably like a soft hard.
Yeah. Oh, and is there any rain at all for the race?
Not completely dry.
All completely dry. Well, there we go.
It's
pretty straightforward. Alright, well, you know what? We might leave you to it. Thank you very much for having a chat with us, and it was a pleasure having you. We might hear from you a little bit later on in the race should we have any incidents either.
Alright, thank you.
Thanks so much once again. Alright, and that was Silderfort there, a Singapore driver in the Red Bull, and he's sitting in P7 now, just with a 29.9, pretty comfortable there. Now, is my co-com, has he sorted out his technical difficulties? That's the real question.
I sure have, and I'm back. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can. That is beautiful. The sound of your voice is crystal and clear and lovely.
Excellent. After a couple of reinstalls of Discord, ready to go.
Wonderful, wonderful. And have you been sort of paying attention to what's going on, what's been happening?
Yes, I've been having a listen. Some excellent in-car commentary from Silderfort there. Did a pretty good job. I always find it, I can't even think while I'm driving, so pretty impressive to be able to talk yourself through everything whilst you're doing it.
Yeah, BP just out on track at the moment. He unfortunately missed out on the last race, so it's not too ideal for him, but it's good to see him back here, and he's just going around the lap at the moment, setting a purple first sector, so straight away asserting a little bit of dominance there, because the two Mercedes boys are at the top of the timesheets currently. Leo is a weirdo, topping the timesheets with a 29 dead, and yes, we did see Ferrari Pro there, that you two have the same time, which is pretty incredible, I have to say. Also, let's pick up on the fact that their GeForce Wogboy P8 on a medium tyre. Karma not managing to break the top 10 with the medium, so he's on track at the moment. I wonder if he can quite manage to do that. But we'll just stick with BP at the moment and see how he's going here on this final, well, it might be his final run really, with the time that he's left. You there, Josh?
Yes, sorry. I am here. I'm just having my own audio issues, but it's all good. I think everything should be sorted now. Now it's more about seeing things, but that's just my own self. So it looks like BP is coming in for his last flyer. So why don't we just do a talk through of this one?
Well, he's just done.
Where is he sitting at the moment? Oh, he's just finished his flyer. Okay,
Yeah.
yep, that tells me a lot about my eyes. Pretty solid lap though, brings him just ahead of Silverfort, who we just had on, with a 129.944 on the medium. So just getting into the top 10 on the medium, so that could give him a strategy advantage if he wanted to do a very difficult medium soft or just be super comfy on a medium hard.
Yeah, indeed. I wonder if Karma is... Well, he's going to be... looks like he's... Oh, what's happened here? Stopped on there. I think... that Red Bull was coming in and he just sort of had to give way to him on the outside of the track there, but he's going to start on his flying lap. You know what? You haven't done this for a while. Takes around a flying lap on the medium tyre on the board of the McLaren.
Alright, so Karma approaching the first corner. He's got there's some traffic coming out, braking just before the curve there, going down into fifth, trying not to cut that curve. A little bit of understeer there, but it's locked in well with that outside curve. Next one, we're braking about 60 meters, throwing the car into the corner, trying to keep the gears as high as possible as to not use too much engine braking. Cut over this one, that looked a bit close, but he's still going, so I think we're all good there. Now onto the straight and up to this DRS. With the mediums, probably braking around 100 meters rather than afterwards, but we'll see how much he risks it. Down into fourth gear, throwing the car in and getting it back around again to get as much speed as you can onto this straight. You can lose a lot of time there if you don't get the greatest exit. And we'll be approaching that perilous third sector. Here we go, so turning in just after the 50 meter, heading towards the apex, getting enough braking to keep the car wide enough so that you don't invalidate and go down the inside. This is one of the toughest ones there. And then last corner, throwing it in, braking just after the 50 meter board, and then he got that tucked in really well for third gear there. Quite a difference there. We noticed Silverfort earlier was using first gear and second gear, but Karma there has just used third, and his time is a 1:30.6, I believe, if I'm reading that correctly.
Really improve on that, unfortunately for him. I think that's going to be his day done and dusted. The Ferrari there on is just about to start a lap. He's just right on the edge of the time at the moment. These guys now coming on their final runs, qualifying. The checkered flag has fallen. Looks like the other Ferrari his day is done for the moment. Silverfort just coming across the line here. Can he improve on that? No, he cannot. 29.9 stays that within a P8 for him. The Mentani also with the 26.6 coming across the line. Who have we got coming across the line next? The other Alfa Romeo of VSR Roscoe Arm. He's coming around the final sector now. Can he improve? Can he get... No, he doesn't. He backs out. Sorry, he was invalidated. He backs out of that one and into the pit lane. What about the Mercedes at the top here? That's where they were going to be looking at, retired in the pit lane. Ford coming around the final sector. He's going to want to be improving here because Leo is currently holding P1 with Plebs just a 10th off that. And yeah, all these cars now on their final flying laps are going to stick on and just watch them as they come across the line. I can hear you clicking away in the background. Ford comes across the line with and goes Paul with a 28.9. Can his teammate respond? Just pips it by less than 1/10. Leo is the winner, just coming across the line now. Now, does he have an answer for his teammate? And yes, he does. Just pips him in the end as well by just under a 10th also. Well, does Plebs have a response for this? He's one of the few guys here. Ferrari Pro also. Let's have a look. His fuel light is screaming away. Comes across the line, looking for a slipstream on the Alpine. Is that going to help him in any way? Because he needs to do something. No, he cannot improve. The Ferrari's there sitting 29.6 and Plebs is also done. His lap is invalid. That's our qualifying done here. Just look at those Mercedes boys having a little squabble at the top there with their time so close.
Yeah, and the top three really dominant ahead of some of the others. We can see all the way from 4th down to 10th, we've got 6 cars within less than half of a second. So really, really close in the midfield there. And then our two Mercedes drivers out front, just pipping each other as they go.
Yeah, especially from those Ferrari-powered cars in the middle of Ventani, Noah, and Ferrari Pro, all at the 0.6, and the McLaren too. So close between those guys, and as we mentioned before, the Ferrari's separated by literally nothing, with the exact same time. Obviously, Noah, having set his time before Ferrari Pro, takes that slightly high grid spot, and that's qualifying done and dusted here in Le Castellet.
Yeah, excellent. So as we heard from Silverfort, we're going to have a completely dry race. So likelihood of safety cars at France is pretty low considering all of the runoff area on this track, but it is possible. There's a couple of spots where things can happen, but we can hope for a clean race over the full 100% distance.
Yeah, indeed. A couple of guys on that medium tyre made it in the top 10, BP and Wogboy. On that alternate strategy, the soft tire doesn't go very long around here, so yeah, that'll certainly help those guys. Ventani in the chat there, come on, let's go. And yes, indeed, on his debut in P4 with a 29.6, the merest of margins beating those other guys, but that's what Formula One is, really separates itself from a lot of the sports. It is about the merest of margins, making those little tiny improvements, and that's what he's done there, and put the car very nicely into that lofty grid spot on his first run around here in the endurance tier.
Yes, really, really excellent for a first race, and we'll see how he goes through the actual race, because endurance is a complete slog. It is a long time to be doing anything, so...
It is a marathon, indeed, and it, I mean, you can kind of say it's not lost or won in the first corner, but obviously if you have an incident, that will really happen. That's the problem. It's the low chance of a safety car here. If you have that incident at the start, then that's really going to be an issue. So they'll all be wanting to look through, getting through the first couple of corners as cleanly as possible. There's plenty of runoff here to avoid incidents, which is good. No close by walls, as you were saying earlier, for DNFing and such. So I think that's really the key, is just keeping it clean and keeping all parts of the car intact through that first sector.
Yes, that's right. And we could see some strategy decisions play out here. Obviously, with a couple of the drivers starting on the mediums, it's going to make it quite interesting. But whether or not those drivers are going to be running, long stinted soft hards or medium hards, or whether someone tries a two-stop as well, like a soft medium or something like that, it could be really interesting. Of course, if there are any incidents that's going to affect it. But here we go. Here's the formation lap.
Yes, and we have Leo is a weirdo topping in the group in P1 in that Mercedes 1-2 and beating his teammate Ford there, who's had a pretty dominant run so far of it. And today it's going to be two Mercedes against one Alpine. Well, at the top there, unfortunately Zach was not able to make this race, so Plebs is going to have a lot of work to do for himself and Team Alpine, and he's got a very competent teammate of Wogboy on that alternate strategy down in P10. Ventani, our debutant for today in that lovely Alfa Romeo in P4 on the soft tyre, and then going around in circles on the formation lap, maybe just getting some temperature into his tyres. The other Ferrari of Ferrari Pro in P6, PRL Saint in the McLaren in P7, and then BP, our first medium runner, in the top 10 in P8 in the Haas. P9 Silverfort, our interviewee for the weekend, on that soft tyre sandwich between those medium runners. Unfortunately, the lowest running soft runner, so he's going to have to really look at getting a good start and just escaping those medium boys. But Wogboy there, rounding off the top 10 on that medium tyre. Ross, did I just see McLaren in the background, almost in the wall there? What is going on this formation lap? Roscoe on the medium tyres, Bags also on that medium tyre, Karma on the medium tyres. At the back there's a Ferrari there, and there's a Red Bull very, very, very far back on the medium tyre of CBF Rude.
Yes, I would have thought donuts are not the best way to get heat into your tyres, but we've seen everything.
Indeed we have. And yes, let's get all those mistakes out of the way now, because we have got 53 laps around this Paul Ricard circuit in sunny south of France. What a lovely spot, sunny south of France.
Have you ever been?
I have actually. I've been very close.
Delightful.
I'm pretty sure Nice is very close by. Just down the road from
I've actually been to Nice as well, yeah.
Well, there you go. So we're just waiting
Alrighty.
for that Red Bull to take its grid spot.
Luckily, in this game, as soon as you hit the AI takeover point, your tyre temperatures will remain the same. So they're not going to be sitting there on the grid getting colder and colder. It will show that on the display, but then it will jump back up as soon as they start.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no
Cody.
panic there. Okie dokie. I can't see the lights, but I can hear them. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And off they go. The Mercedes getting a fairly equal start, but Ford there and Plevs around the outside also having a look. It's not been a great start for Leo, and yeah, I think he's lost 2 positions. Plevs going side by side through there, and just keeping it all safe. A couple of guys going wide, but otherwise I think we get through that first corner unscathed. And yeah, down the inside, Leo's a weirdo trying to fight with Plebs. Ventani having a decent start as well. The Ferrari losing out a little bit there, and yeah, Plebs gets pushed a little bit wide on the exit of turn 6, and otherwise they get through pretty cleanly actually through these sections. I'm impressed about. Just as I say that, shut my mouth. Noah has gone round, missing a front wing, and just cooked it on the exit of turn 6, unfortunately for him. But otherwise, everyone getting through quite simply through there.
Yeah, it almost looks like we can see the... Well, I thought we could see the separation of the medium pack, but there's a bunch of that straight. But we see Silverfort here really needs to get past BP as soon as possible, because it's the only medium runner ahead of him. Needs to move forward so that he can jump up with those soft runners. He doesn't want to get stuck behind the mediums and then have to do that early pit. It's not going to play out well for him if he cannot get past, but hopefully he'll be able to push through. Ooh, looks like he's had to back off a little bit there, make sure not to run into the back of BP.
Yeah, looks like he's struggled there a little bit as he gets sideways coming into the last corner, and once he get a clean exit down here, Wogboy's looking all over the back of him and he's sniffing the weakness. Silverfort goes defensive on the inside. Can he make it around the outside? Does look like he's made it through, and unfortunately that's a position drop there for Silverfort heading down into turn 1.
Yeah, that's only going to make things harder for him in terms of getting back up with his pack. And Ferrari Pro has just made a move on Vertani as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Down into turn 3, I believe that was done. And yeah, Ferrari Pro up into P4. Ventani wide all off the circuit there. And it's very tricky. And that's really compromised his exit onto the Mistral Straight. That McLaren looking racy on the inside. They're going to try going too wide through here. I'm not sure how that's going to work for them. No, and he settles back in behind the McLaren. Job done for the McLaren up into P5.
Yes, that's it. Solid overtake there. So Bertoni really losing out in that battle with Ferrari Pro. He's lost 2 positions within the first sector.
Yeah, Ford jumping on there. I think Leo just had that slightly compromised start at off the line, and that allowed he just got bogged down with the other 2 guys, had to watch one side, then the other side, and that allowed Ford to sail around the outside into turn 1, get past. But this battle is certainly not over, and yeah, Silverfort is definitely looking for something on Wogboy on that medium tire, and he needs to get that job sooner rather than later, because that medium tire will soon start to overtake the performance in terms of the soft tire. It's just not going to last as long, the optimal performance from that car. As Ford there setting fastest lap of the race. And yeah, asserting his dominance, retaking P1, and yeah, putting down fastest lap. Yep. Oh, a bit sideways there, Silverfort. He might, you know, he was telling us a little bit earlier about his setup choices there, slightly heavier on the downforce side, and yeah, that's going to help him through the corners, but maybe not as much on the straights. But you wouldn't think it'd be too difficult with those 2 long straights to overtake right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for overtaking, very wide track. And speaking of wide, that was a little bit wide, so he might have picked up a warning there for that one. Also noticed, which was quite interesting, Silverford using a couple of the lower gears there as well. But he's got some pace, so I'm sure we can expect him to come back at Wogboy.
Hey there, Combat Wombat in the chat. chat. How are you doing? Yes, good luck to all the boys. Yep. All right, I'll fix that volume issues for you now. Maybe that's a little bit better. Let us know what it sounds like. Just tweaking things here and there, getting the all the settings dialed in. Yeah, these guys in a couple of groups starting to develop. There's an Aston Martin going pretty wide around turn 12 there. Interesting line. There are a few different lines through some of those sweeping corners, some better and some worse for tyre wear. That's Ventani in the pits already. Has he got damage? It's a bit odd to come in already. We'll just keep an eye on...
Yeah, especially with the 100% race. That's very early, about 20 laps early. If you're going for one stop.
Is that a joke, really? Billy Lacey in the chat there. Update from Jeff. Rain in 10 minutes from CBF Rude. I mean... okay, if that's true, this is going to get very exciting and very interesting. But I hope you're not pulling my finger here, because that's made me very excited suddenly, and I hope that we've lost the delta, the intervals there. That'll come back on the next lap here. Just going to make things a little bit difficult, trying to keep an eye on what's going on here. Yellow flag in sector 2. What's that? Is that that's CBF Rude? Yeah, he's gone around on the exit of turn 7. Very, very easy to do, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more people doing that throughout the race. But yeah, the McLaren looking pretty strong here.
Yes, we can see that Ferrari Pro's already dropped off the sort of main first pack. There seems to be sort of two main packs here. Ferrari Pro is getting a lot of pressure from behind. I can't quite read the name, but the McLaren behind.
It's Saint, BRL Saint and BP.
Excellent.
Oh no.
Yes.
Bentani has gone around on that turn 8-9 chicane. I'm just going to keep an eye on this little battle, because it's getting very spicy here. But we'll go and check in on Bentani in a moment to see what happened there.
So McLaren's and the Haas open up DRS. It should be a reasonably straightforward pass, but they're probably going to go too wide into the first corner. Nope, he's completely cleared. So Ferrari Pro might be able to fight back in the second DRS. Well, the second DRS then. Or first, depending on which one you consider first.
Yeah, it's kind of maybe a little bit of thinking forwards about setting the moves up, because it's quite easy to stick with the car. It's a very short run down to the next DRS zone. Quite easy to keep the car within the DRS zone, and CBF through there into the pits for probably fresh wing. BP just sort of being a little bit patient and just checking out what's happening in front. Ferrari Pro looking for the move on the McLaren, and not quite. Yes, he does sails around the outside. BP having a little look as well, once again involved in this, and it doesn't quite work with that McLaren already charging down the straight. He's got a good run though on the Ferrari. He must have some straight line speed in that McLaren.
Yes, but that's exactly what we're talking about. It happened. Maybe it makes more sense to make that overtake on the second DRS zone rather than on the start finish straight, because if you're going to just lose it straight back, then you're bunching up the pack behind you even more. And we just saw then a little bit of the different lines that we have into that corner there, with Ferrari taking a slightly wider line to Saint. A little bit quicker through the corner, but a little bit slower on the exit.
Ferrari's so much slower in that last corner, and just really catches the McLaren out and just pretty much rear ends in there. Hopefully he didn't pick up any damage, but look at that. Saint once again looking for the move. And
this time he stayed behind, so maybe he'll get it done on the second straight.
Exactly that, what you were just saying. And just at the back of this pack is Silverford as well. And he's going to be seeing if he can make it, but I think Ferrari Pro is really struggling on that soft tyre, looking at how much he's dropped off the front guys.
Yeah, it is still quite early though. Even if you're doing a two-stop, you'd probably want to make it to lap 15 on those softs.
There's a bit of a DRS train developing here for iPros, really. The McLaren gets past the BP as well, and the Haas also gets past. That's a double overtake there. Unfortunately for Ferrari, losing 2 positions on that section. But I think he's giving up on this. Look, he's using his battery. He's going to try and stay with them. They're going to go. Are they going to go They're going to go try and make an overtake round in this section. Very tricky. Oh, a little bit of contact, but he makes it through the outside of that section. Wow. Good job there from Ferrari Pro. BP's not going to be happy with that, though, getting done there. Yeah, wow, yeah, down the inside. It's so hard on the inside of that turn 10 there to try and keep your line and avoid any kind of incident. But props to BP for, yeah, they just kept it clean there.
All right, let's take a look at Ferrari's last corner and see if he's backing off. I feel like he's sort of just taking a bit too much speed into the corner, so he's losing a little bit on the exit. But yes, no, it's very interesting to see someone go around the outside there, because I always would have thought that the inside's the easier place to sort of, you know, have a shorter track length and be able to come out ahead, because it becomes the inside of the next corner as well. But Ferrari did a really great job to stay around. Obviously, there was a bit of content, and that's for the others to decide. But things getting a little dicey again. Ferrari Pro,
BP going for a dive there. Silverfort also looking, gets his way through there. Ferrari Pro, look at that, absolutely being, he's got pounced on there by the other drivers, and wow, yeah, those guys really. Unfortunately, Silverfort getting a 3-second penalty for that one there in the process of that overtake, but he's cleared the traffic. Some of it, anyway. I'm surprised actually, considering he went off the track there, and it gave him a penalty for that. He's pretty lucky he didn't actually. There, look at that, BP up ahead, making the move on PRL Saint, and it's all happening here. This absolute battle for P4, and no one's wanting to give up the position. These guys just hammer and tong every single lap around here.
Yeah, it's really great racing, and by the looks of it, it looks like our top three are also fighting it out in there, because they've all stayed with each other as well. But it's hard to leave this battle here, because, you know, 5 drivers in it all together is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and you mentioned that battle for the lead. We must have missed it at some point, because it has moved around there. And you know what? Let's go and have a little look. We haven't looked at these guys too much. Leo has actually taken the lead off Ford now. And they need to be very careful here, these two Mercedes, battling it out, because Plebs is just sitting behind there. And if they make any kind of silly mistakes between the two of each other, fight too much, I'm sure that Plebs will be all over these two guys.
Yeah, that's right. I guess part of the interesting, or something that's also interesting, is there's only a 5-second gap from the medium runners up until the soft runners, which might be not quite enough at this point, because they're going to be dropping off soon. Ooh, that's getting tight. Dropping off really soon, and then needing to pit soon as well. So it'll be interesting to see how those different strategies play out there.
Well, yeah, they do have that luxury a little bit, those guys at front, just that breathing space. And Silverfort going defensive. Ferrari Pro, is he going to be looking for another one of these moves round the outside? Just about holds onto it. Yeah, the problem is the inside line. Whoa, see, Rude has retired, I think, in the pit lane there. So he was quite a long way down there. I think he's just sort of given up on that one so far back, especially with such a low chance of a safety car on this track. It's just so hard to catch back up to the pack.
Either that, he might actually be on the straight.
Yeah, hopefully his car hasn't kept going. Yeah. No, I think the AI is taking his car back out in the pits. Unfortunately, that's not ideal. That's why we don't retire mid-race of our own volition, because stuff like that happens. Oh, he's getting all in the way of the guys down the back. Hopefully that's the last we'll see of that. Yeah, that's the problem with going around the inside at turn 10, is it's such a high-speed corner, and you get a very compromised line through there. You kind of have to lift to make it through without causing an incident with the driver on the outside, and very, very tricky around that section. But once again, these guys continuing a battle with this DRS train.
Yeah, Ferrari's been very smart with that move and making it very obvious that he's going for it, but then leaving enough space so that there is room on the inside, but it seriously compromises the corner for those people. So it's all within the rules, of course, but it makes the overtake really, really solid. Yeah, and then you got a couple of corners as well to try and break free of that 1 second gap there. And yeah, Ferrari Pro looking like he's
well, he has dropped off a little bit from those guys in front, but just about keeping tabs with them. That's going to help him definitely with the other guys being on that, not both of them, but the BP on that medium tyre, sort of helping out that soft runner group, just sort of pulling them along a little bit.
Yeah, so BP's got himself in a really great position on those mediums. And is actually closing the gap. Not very much, but a tiny bit at a time to plebs. Okay, it's all gone back now, so don't worry about that. It was actually just dropped half a second to plebs, so take that back.
Yeah, so I think it's going to swing a little bit depending on which part of the track they're on. But
yes.
I definitely expect to see those soft runners start to struggle a little bit, and that medium coming into its own a little bit more at this stage of the race. These, he doesn't want to. Wow, they're going really wide out through there. He doesn't want to really get stuck with these guys though, because that's really going to impact his the long run of his race. On that medium tyre, he's going to definitely want to pull away from them, not get involved in a battle, and keep his strategy nice and clear. And obviously, he's done that Ventani has gone round. Yep, on the... Oh, no, he's gone round again. Doing a couple of donuts round there. Off he goes, and that's at least that'll, I think, give Noah something to play with. And those two will be next to each other, have a little battle between the two of them. But yeah, I'm presuming he just lost out on the exit of turn 1, turn 2, the curbing there. Very, very tricky, especially when you get a little bit worn tyres. That curbing can definitely spit you right out. And Wogboy also in quite a strong position here with these soft runners in front of him. On that alternative strategy, the mediums, you know, he's going to be... At the moment, his target is definitely BP on that similar strategy, just a few positions up ahead. Those two guys in creating a soft runner sandwich from P4 down to P8.
Alright, so we see a warning coming up for Saint. He's not the only one with a warning. We also have Silverfoot, and now Wogbo has also just got a warning for the corner car we just saw. Not a warning, a penalty is the word that I'm looking for.
Yes.
Well, there was a warning too, and then a penalty.
That's usually how it happens, isn't it?
Something like that. I don't know though. It never happens to me, of course.
Ford getting past back, taking the lead of this race. And look at these guys just fighting. You'd think they might have been working together a little bit just to keep ahead of the rest of the cars. Ventani retired from the session at the end of the track. I mean... Oh, has he done that in the pit lane? I think he's unfortunately. Oh no, Ventani. We were so looking forward to seeing you race throughout this race, and yeah, he's given up in that pit lane. Unfortunately, not a great way to start his debut in this tier at Endurance. But like we were saying, these guys still battling away at the front. Oh, has there been a bit of mistake from PRL Saint? He's dropped right off the back of BP. And that is not ideal for him. That's certainly going to help BP pull away now. PRL sent into the pit lane on those, getting rid of those tyres. But we'll just keep an eye on this front battle. And yeah, there's that slow moving, the camera shot. Hopefully that ghosted for these guys. But yeah, that's why we don't really advise pit and quitting, because that kind of stuff happens where the AI takes over and comes back on the track, and it can really impede on... Game was all messed up, was racing forward at one point on my screen. Billy Lacey. I feel like that's probably someone that's racing but has a slightly different name to the actual PSN name, so I'm unable to identify who you are.
I think Billy is CBF Rude, but I could be wrong.
Oh, maybe that's what he meant by that. I thought he meant CBF Rude.
I thought also something else, but yeah. So maybe there's a little bit of desync going on there for CBF Rude. So when those situations happen, obviously, there's only so much you can do. But things are getting really tight here. Ferrari Pro is going to look for a move down the inside this time rather than the outside. Let's see if he can get that done. And he can.
Yeah, just again, once again, Ferrari Pro really, really loving the move down at turn 10 there. Because I was just about to say Silverfort's just moved up, and yeah, Ferrari Pro retaking that position. Pierre Alsaint, our first pitter of the day, onto that medium tyre from the soft tyre, and I very much doubt he's looking to go to the end on that medium tyre. This battle continuing.
Yeah, probably a soft medium going on there.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And Silverfort moving to the inside, takes the position off Ferrari Pro, but Wogboy, notice they're backing out, being a little bit patient there, probably waiting for the next straight as Ferrari Pro picks up a penalty at the same time. And again, very easy to do on a few of these corners around this track, but yeah, see if that... oh, did you notice how dark it suddenly got then? Are we actually going to have rain? Oh, this could really ruin and upset a few people's races if we're actually going to have rain. Especially if Silver thought it was going to be dry the whole race, unless he was lying to us. Maybe he didn't want to let anybody else know on the stream. Playing cards close to his chest. Ferrari Pro looking for a move on the outside. Silverfort goes defensive on the inside, and Ferrari Pro tries around the outside, which turns into the inside and gets past. But Silverfort looking for a bit of a switch back there, which doesn't happen. And these guys are using a lot of their energy at the moment.
Yeah, so Silverfort getting a penalty as well there for the little bit of a cutback there.
Look at that Wogboy all over his mirrors, in Silverfort's mirrors there. Just keeps having a little look here, a little look there. Jeff said rain was coming from Billy Lacey. Billy Lacey, are you CBF rude? Is it true? Is
are the rumours true?
Are the rumours true? We wish to know in the comment box.
So we can see Wogboy's been able to conserve his battery a little bit while sticking behind Silverfort and Ferrari Pro whilst they're fighting that out. So he's got energy to use, and I'm wondering if Plebs is in a similar situation in third place, whether he's been able to conserve his battery whilst sticking behind two Mercedes fighting each other.
That was kind of weird. Wogboy pulled out then as if he was going to make the move, and then just didn't do it. And I think he was waiting for the straight, but I think now he's realised, oh, I'm a lot quicker, I've got a lot more energy, maybe I should have made the move there, but that's that door closed now for him. He's going to have to look down the straight. The problem is, it's a bit of a DRS train here, makes it a little bit difficult with the car, and yes, Billy Lacey is CBF rude. Our excellent sleuthing skills have worked that out, and there's... yes, definitely our excellent detective skills. And Wogboy getting past Silverfort there on the straight, pretty easily done. Can he make a double move here? No, quite. Just settles back in.
Silverfort was a touch later than the DRS.
Oh, and it is looking... Oh, yes, the rain already. The rain coming down. The rain coming down. This is going to help those soft runners. I think they've been stretching their stins because they knew the rain was coming, unlike us. And they've been stretching on that soft tyre. And this is going to nullify the work of the medium tyre. I keep wanting to mention Ventani in the chat. The setup was horrible, no front end, so figured sadly it wasn't our race. That was a huge mistake now, Ventani, with the rain coming down, because that would have given you a real chance to make a comeback out of that one. Put a couple of clicks on the front wing in the pits when you change over to the wet tyres, and you know, in the wet, it's anybody's game.
Yes. So I think the soft runners haven't really had to stretch too hard. 14 laps on the softs is very, very manageable. So they're definitely their decision to start on the softs because the mediums weren't necessary to take us to the rain. But of course, if they weren't all aware of that, that's why we have approximate forecasts. So we're still racing, even though things are starting to look a little bit wet and slow and locking up. Still got some sun shining though. It's a bit of a sun shower.
But it is coming down there. Look at that. I think there's already standing water appearing on the track there. It certainly looks like it. That's coming down very quickly, and I would not be surprised to see all the guys coming in at the end of this lap. Any smart people that have come in already? Yes, Noah's coming in. He's going to benefit the most out of this one. But yes, definitely. Oh, be careful now coming into here. There was no rain in qualifying. Silverfort didn't lie. Wow. Caught out. Look at the game. I love it when the game's unpredictable like this. It just definitely makes things a lot more interesting. gives you a real sense of that unpredictable weather, because you wouldn't expect it to. Whoa! There goes a car. There goes Bags. He's gone round. Bags has gone round on turn 10. Did he keep it out of the wall? I wonder. Hopefully, yes, he did. And that it just shows you how easy it is to get caught out by the conditions. Luckily, everyone else has made it through. DRS disabled. Everyone's going to be coming in for inters now, I believe.
That's it. That is the most common thing to force us into the pits. DRS disabled.
Yeah, and let's see if I caught that. Let's see if I caught that little moment there of Bags coming round. I think I did here. You can see that again. All the cars coming around that turn 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Bags big sideways goes around. And yeah, just a little bit too much. Maybe a little bit of dirty air from the cars in front. Lack of downforce, and he's gone round. But luckily, I mean, yeah, it cost him, but he didn't hit the wall, so it wouldn't cost him too much, and he was doing pretty well. He'd caught up to that pack, and I wanted to also mention BP, and look what's happened here. The double stack has absolutely ruined Leo is a weirdo who's behind coming into the pit stop, and yeah, look at that. 2 places lost because of that double stack. I mean, what more could he have done, I guess?
That's it, and BP really looking like he's in a good spot. He gained, well, made up 3 of those seconds that he had to plebs in the pits, so whether or not that was on the lap leading into it or coming out, but he probably had a bit more life left in those medium tyres and was able to push a little harder through the early parts of that rain.
Silverfoot looked like he was struggling a little bit on the exit there, and I was going to say, with that 11.8 that he's running, that's quite high downforce regularly, but maybe that's going to play into his hands a little bit in these wet conditions with that extra downforce. That might actually help him out a fair amount.
Yeah, we might. Some of the other setups that might be common might be something like 6.9 wings, where you've got a bit more straight line speed. But yeah, maybe that extra downforce is gonna help out through the first and third sector.
Yeah, that said, the Ferrari Pro is looking very good at the moment in the wet. He's really gaining up to the back of the Red Bull, and yeah, he's looking pretty hot in these wet conditions. Yeah, it's going to be, the pack has separated out a little bit at the moment. 6 seconds from the front group. BP has managed to sneak into that top 3 group now at the expense of Leo is a weirdo. But I'm sure it's not all over. Those 4 cars at the front there. Yeah, he did a great job on that medium stint, didn't he, BP?
Yeah, really, really excellent. To make up positions whilst running the non-optimum tyre for what happened. It's really, really great. I'm not sure exactly where he started. Maybe we could have a look at the...
Yeah, he was in the... I believe he was P8 in the top 10 with the medium tyre. Yes. Good memory. Thank you.
There you go. 5 positions up. Also, Wogboy has made up 5 positions as well from the look of that. So, a couple of winners, couple of losers, but BP, the biggest winner of them all.
Yeah, well, those boys both started on the medium tyre, so apparently that was the better tyre to run, because they've done a good job on that. But yeah, I wonder if this rain is going to get worse, or if it's going to... It doesn't really... I mean, it looks tricky out there. Pretty sure it's going to dry up at the end. Well, that's going to make everything even more exciting. Thanks, Billy, or CBF Rude, or however you'd prefer, being our lovely insider knowledge at the moment. And yeah, that's great. Ooh, that's BP picking up a penalty there. That's going to hamper his charge for the lead, with those guys all super close by. Yeah, I'd say it's fairly easy to pick up penalties around here on some of the corners. The track's fairly wide, so you could argue, you know, it's maybe not as bad as some other tracks, but yeah, it already looks like it's sort of brightening up a little bit. The rain sort of coming down steadily.
The clouds are dissipating, so
and
it's coming back sooner than we would think.
I don't know if it's my game or if it's actually like this, but there's not really any spray coming off the cars. Something I've just realised. I had this actually not so long ago where it was maybe early on in the game cycle, maybe there was a few bugs and stuff, but it was wet, but it wasn't. Well, it appeared to be wet, but it wasn't actually that wet, and I'm kind of getting a bit of those vibes at the minute, because as the rain just like it almost stopped.
It does look like the textures aren't loading properly.
Yeah, but
from my view as well. So maybe we are missing certain elements from Cody's there.
Yeah, the rain's certainly not looking hard at the moment. Certain parts of the track are looking a bit sunnier than others, and if Billy or Rude is correct in the fact that it's going to dry up a little bit later, well, we could see just gentle rain and then slowly just starting to dry. But it does look damp though, certainly. Damp, I think, is the right word. Moist, maybe even.
Yes, definitely not worth the wet tires, but into faster than dries, of course, at the moment. But ooh, a little bit of a slip there. So the interesting part, of course, if it does end up going back dry, is like, when do you pull the trigger? So exactly. Are you going to take that risk and try and get that extra couple of seconds by going early, or?
And from the overhead shot, they certainly seemed as well. There was not a dry line, but definitely a less wet line than off the racing line. So potentially it could be sooner rather than later. If the cars keep going around and keep hoovering up the water and drying up the racing line, might not be too long. Obviously, the Formula 1 game not having as amazing physics, rain, drying out simulation physics as maybe some of the other titles, such as the new Gran Turismo, which I've heard is incredible with its wet weather, drying and racing lines.
Ooh, and we see Lewis is a weirdo picking up a 3-second time penalty. So only hurt so far since we've had this rain come in for him. He's dropped the leading spot and picked up a penalty now.
Well, there's your penalties for you. Almost all the top 10 having penalties, apart from Ford and Plebs, who are in the lead at the moment, and Roscoe and Karma keeping it clean. That gap has started to open up a little bit between Ford and Plebs. He's starting to pull away. 3 seconds, a comfortable lead. BP though hounding the back of Plebs, and we've seen these two guys go at it, and oh no, BP's picked up another penalty. That is not ideal, and I'm feeling a bit of deja vu from Australia with the wet weather and the penalties from BP, but he certainly showed us that wasn't going to stop him in that race in particular. But yeah, 6 seconds is certainly not going to help his title charge.
No, and it looks like some of those gaps are opening up, as you said. Stick with Silver 4 at the moment. Don't want to give Silver 4 too many strategy advantages, of course, but it's holding him off nicely there.
But Billy there saying in the chat, weather was 3 sunny / clouds, 3 clouds, and then 3 sunny / clouds. That's
slush cloud.
Slush clouds. It's a bit of a mouthful. / sunny / clouds. You try say that. It's not that easy.
No, thank you.
I'll reserve looking like it. It stopped raining. While the slash clouds were coming out. Now it's the question of now who dares to come in and when. Who will be the first to? You can see from there, the overhead shot there. There's definitely a bit of a dry line. Who's gonna bite the bullet? Who's gonna risk? Oh no! That's Silverfort. That Silverfort has gone round there. Oh, he's facing the wrong way. He's got to get that car turned around. And does get going. That's not good for him. That's coming at a really, really bad time with the tracks drying up. No, he's staying out. He's chosen to stay out. Yeah, that is incredibly bad timing at this point when it's drying out. And yeah, who and when? Who's got the least the most to lose?
Yeah, the most to lose. Well, Ford's got the most to lose, of course. But that's obvious. Who could we see be trying to...
Here it is. Our
Someone in
first
the
car.
pits?
That's a McLaren.
Saint. All right, let's watch the sector times and see. Straight onto the mediums. Can the mediums go till the end? With a lot of difficulty, yes.
But the real question is, how is the grip going to be for him? Let me have a look. Let me have a better look. Let me give the camera. Thank you. He's being tentative. Yeah, a bit early, but you know, he's down there. I think he felt like he was, you know, wanted to take a risk, and sometimes that can pay off. Sometimes it does. It doesn't look that bad, but it certainly doesn't look great. This will be the really defining corner. How easy. He had to go down to second gear. A bit of a slide there through third. He's a couple of gears down from where he should be. Yeah, I'm sure it'll dry up quickly, but that might have been a touch. No. It might have been a touch too early. Let's just take a quick look at that silver
lap or too early.
And let's see how that all happened down there in the final sector. Yeah, I think he just got one wheel on the curb, got a tank slapper one way, then the other way, and round he went, unfortunately for him. But it's still a long way to go, so anything can happen. And let's see. Yeah, that looks like he's struggling a bit there. 7th gear, big lift and just a lot of sideways movement in the car that he doesn't want. That dry line doesn't look... Oh, DRS enabled.
DRS enabled. Maybe the next lap is the right lap, but still it doesn't look great for Saint. And if DRS is already enabled, that seems... Got some cars coming in.
Yeah, that's Bags in the Aston Martin coming in for me. I think... Look, you can hear the tyre, the tyres screech there as he's trying to get his foot down, and there's just not that much grip. And he's looking better than Saint did when he came out. Noah's in the bit of. I think the game's playing silly buggers here because it's not quite. It is, but it isn't.
The Inters still look more comfy right now. So the thing is, everybody's going to start. Yeah, it just looks more stable.
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on those deltas there.
Not always the most fast.
No, they're coming in. They're coming in. There's too many dry patches. You can see this. It's very patchy. Oh, BP just runs into the back of Plebs into the pit lane. Ooh,
luckily, Plebs did not get a penalty for speeding from the little nudge.
I think that would have come
there shouldn't be any damage there.
Ooh, just that the tricky conditions just caught him out a little bit there.
Ooh, Plebs onto the softs.
Going aggressive, same
and
with BP.
So is BP. So now we've got a second difference of strategy. We've got Ford potentially trying to make it to the end on the mediums, and then Plebs and BP switching to the softs to assumably do one more stop, maybe even to another set of softs later. So we can BP to start. Oh, gee.
You're just cutting out.
BP and Plebs to start. Well, maybe if they don't. Oops, sorry. I'll let you talk then.
No. You keep going. I think it's just an intermittent issue. You just cut out for a moment there.
That's all right. So,
I say that and you cut out straight away. Then this is not ideal. BP making the move and getting the job done on Plebs down very easily with the aid of DRS. Bit of sideways movement into that section. I don't think the track has really rubbed it in. Of course, it hasn't rubbed it in too much from the wet rain, but these guys yet going to be fighting all the way. Let's just see. Are you better now?
You tell me. Am I better now?
You sound better. Yes. I think it was just a very small intermittent connection issue potentially.
All right. Please. Yep.
But yes, BP there taking P2. Of course, BP has a raft of penalties, 9 seconds to be precise. So Plebs is not going to worry too hard about it. But, well, what they have to do is not squabble, work together and catch up and decrease that gap down to Ford, because at the minute Ford's sitting very happy in P1, 3.5 seconds ahead of the other two.
I think BP's looking pretty racy, and that's a good thing for Plebs. Plebs probably just wants to tuck in, take that DRS, and hold on to ERS whilst they catch up as a group to Ford, because they've already taken out second, almost. So, there's... Oh, do we have a McLaren doing something interesting there? Or does it...
I don't think so. I think McLaren's looking okay. Just seem a bit of
Excellent.
a ways off. So, but yes, 12 drivers in the race still at the moment. We've only lost 2, that of CBF Root and Vane Taney, both retiring in the pit lane, unfortunately. As BP just pulled out that second gap on Plez. I think we just managed to keep it in there. Detection zone was... sorry, not the detection zone. Yeah, just got to get into that 1 second gap for the detection zone. And that detection zone, we'll point that out for you, is just before the penultimate corner. Ferrari Pro, they're picking up a penalty. But yeah, he has now got solidly in with a 0.8 of a second. That is stretching back up again. Yes, that detection zone coming up just here now around this section. There is the line there. And yeah, he has that within a second, and that will give him the DRS. But you're right, those guys are catching up to Ford. You would expect that, as they're on that fastest soft tyre.
Yes, 8/10 that lap, but they've got to... They probably need to be catching Ford more, unless Ford is actually also on a 2-stop. But what, 2-stop from now, that is. No, 1 stop from now, that's how maths works. 2 tyres, 1 stop. But, yeah, Plebs and BP definitely cannot make it to the end, as far as I'm aware. Ford could. So, if they're only gaining 8/10 a lap with 30 laps left, yeah, I guess by the time they went into the second set of really fast softs, they'd be absolutely caning it compared to those old mediums. But we'll have to see how that one plays out. It could be quite interesting.
Let's take note as well that Wogboy and Roscoe on the hard tyre, those guys will definitely be looking at taking those to the end. It'll be interesting to see what the pace is between the hard and the medium as we get into, say, the final 10 laps. Maybe the medium can't go to the end. Maybe they're thinking, because it's difficult, the tyre wear is quite high around this track. It is difficult to stretch those tyres around here. So going maybe on that safer strategy of the putting in one more stop in before the end is going to be just that bit quicker.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see it play out. Who knows, maybe we'll see rain again.
Well, yeah, you never know.
BP setting the fastest lap of the race. And that gap, down another 4/10 that lap. So, well, probably 5/10 now. So, they're creeping closer. I can imagine that BP will be within...
We just lost you for a moment there again. I'm not sure. Not sure if it's your connection or maybe just maybe for some reason the sensitivity on the threshold for the mic maybe is just cutting out. Unsure.
Yes, maybe something is playing up there. I'll have a quick look at my mic settings. It could also be my internet.
Yes, potentially. Yeah, BP using his energy quite heavily. I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to hold on to this with Plebs just hunting him at the moment. Just a couple of tenths off, and yeah, he's just playing the long game. There's still plenty of laps left in this race. It's certainly looking more sunny. Sunshine's starting to creep through the clouds here, returning back to the sunniness that we once knew in the south of France. Jeff had me on a 2-stop medium pit lap 20-40 softs to the end, so Jeff reckons the softs do 13. You could probably take them close to 20 maybe, the softs. Maybe, but that would be difficult. So yeah, certainly not going to be looking at. That's Plebs right up there. Leo is a weirdo, setting the fastest lap of the race on that medium tyre with a 32.4. I think we're going to be seeing an overtake now from Plebs. I think he's just about had it behind that Haas. and it is sizing up a move down onto the main straight. Yeah, BP just running a little bit wide there. Not getting a great entry into that corner, allowing Plebs to chase up the back, and you can see there goes the energy of the Alpine, and he's a bit of a gap away, but I think this is, the energy, the light blinking on that Haas already at the recharge, and Plebs gets the job done down into turn 8. Pretty simple.
How can you hear me at the moment?
I can hear you fine. It was not the quality, it was just every once in a while it sort of cuts out for a few seconds. So
Gotcha. I've turned off the auto mic sensitivity, so let me know if that happens again.
okie dokie. It sounds pretty similar, but look, you're back and the sun is shining.
Yeah, I was gone for maybe 30 seconds, and
Ooh.
it's not dark anymore. Just Plebs there, just catching a little bit of that inside curve. That one can be really dangerous. It's not an auto spin curve like we see in Bahrain or in Hungary, but it can be a really tricky one, especially if you only get a little bit of it. Alright, so while I was gone, clearly Plebs has overtaken BP, but it looks like BP is going to be coming back at him. Of course, now that they've been fighting, they've dropped off of Ford.
Yeah. You know, it's that classic case of, well, I actually think I'm quicker than you, so I'm going to overtake you, but no, I think I'm quicker than you. And, you know, sometimes maybe it's worth conceding for a few laps at least to the other guy who may not be quicker, but at least you're sort of saving. But we'll see what happens here, see how patient. But BP, the problem with BP is that he's been using a lot more of his energy than Plebs has, so he's kind of stuck into that position a little bit more. And yeah, can't quite get past. So again, maybe just thinking about the long run slightly. Behind, at the back of his mind, I'm sure he's aware of the penalties as well. BP having that 9-second penalties, and that's, you know, he needs to make a serious impact on these guys if he wants to try and retain the position. But definitely pushing Plebs along though.
Luckily, there is a bit of a gap back to Wog Boys, so BP won't be dropping a massive positions as it stands. Of course, that means everybody keeping it clean, so there's no safety cars. But maybe Plebs was faster for right now. Seems like really, if they wanted to work together, not that would ever happen. They do through with the front driver burning airs and giving DRS.
Yeah, they do have to be aware behind them too, right? Because the other Mercedes is behind them.
That's right, and it doesn't have as many penalties as BP. I think it's just the 1 3-second if I remember correctly.
Correct, just one set of 3-second penalties behind. But BP is looking very racy. It looks like he wants to retake this position, and is very, very close. Drop the battery, off he goes, and slips down to the inside. Plebs not finding that too hard, and just tucks in front and gets through in the chicane. Yeah, they're just playing a bit of to and fro at the minute. And it's not really actually costing them too much time at the current stage. They're still sitting about 2.3 behind Ford and 2.7 with Leo in P4 behind them. So yeah, not costing them too much. I think the disadvantage is that hard. Yes, go on.
Sorry, I was just that it's not costing them too much. But if there is a in strategy in terms of the amount of stops left for BP Plebs and Ford, then they are in a tough spot because they've come out, 4 seconds behind after that wet stint, and then not really been able to make any ground with the softer tyre.
I was going to touch on the hard tyre too. Obviously, it's got the longevity there to go to the end, but the problem with that hard tyre is that those guys on those fresher, quicker rubber at the end, the pace difference is going to be huge. That hard tyre is going to be so slow at the end, I think, for the two runners.
Yes, but no, you're right. There's not really a but to that. It's going to be slow. Right, we can see
just,
Plebs has dropped off a little bit here, so maybe as we can see, because they haven't been fighting each other for half a lap, they've caught up another half a second to Ford. So maybe now's the opportunity for Plebs to tuck in, save up that battery, and then go for the move once they're back with G-Force Ford.
Is it enough though? That's the question. Is it enough? Are the Mercedes doing a one-stop? Is it enough what they're doing, the soft runners? Well, I say a one-stop, I mean from now, of course. Yeah, they're still behind. That's the problem. They need to get track position, get ahead, and start pulling this gap, because if they're going to have to pit again, they're going to have to do it all over again, and they're going to be 20 seconds down, roughly, on these guys.
Yes, but in saying that, I can't imagine those mediums are going to be joyful to drive in 22 laps.
Indeed. So maybe they could take that pit stop a little bit earlier, try and get an undercut and just make up as much time as possible. And well, I guess it all just depends on what they've got up their sleeve, the Mercedes guys. Yeah, currently all the drivers, should they finish, they'll all be receiving points as Race Spec scores all the way down to P15. So that is obviously the ideal thing they all want to do, is just finish, because they'll be picking up some healthy points, as Plebs is looking for another move on BP. Not going to be quite close enough there. It did look like he was approaching with intent, but yeah, just settled in behind him there. And yeah, all the time there, he's just been recharging his battery, sitting behind BP. BP still using the charge. I'm sure that if he stopped using it, that would leave him very vulnerable to Plebs who would try and take the position. That's the penalty situation as well.
That's right, but
maybe that gives them a chance, you know? Recharge the battery when they're sitting behind the other driver, get in front.
That's it.
Use it up.
Moves his battery back up to 60% for the first time in a few laps.
Although this is the first time we've seen a real change with the time to Ford in front there. It's sort of just opened up that gap a little bit. We did see it dip below the 2 second marker, but now it's gone. It went right up to 2.5 seconds there, which it hasn't been for quite a long time. These guys, just in a tricky battle here, just managing and just trying to keep up really with the P1 driver.
Yes, and they'll both be thinking about it. As much as they see the car ahead or behind of them, right next to them, they're thinking about how can they win this race, not how can they come second.
Indeed, and it's tantalizingly close. I mean, if you look there, you can just see Ford up the road there, just like about one corner ahead, and yeah, it's a bit of a carrot on a stick for these guys to chase him down. But I do definitely feel like it's sort of ebbing towards the medium runner at the moment. They just don't seem to be consistently closing that gap as they once were, and be interested to see. Whoa, that was pretty weird. To see if Leo can close from behind, also, because that'll put a lot of pressure on these guys.
Yeah, and we've seen some pretty good pace from Wogboy actually. He's only dropped 1 second on those hards throughout this whole stint to Lewis, so that's a pretty great effort on those hard tyres. Of course, he's got to keep them going, but at least the good thing about the hards is they will feel pretty consistent for the mid part of their life, and they'll do more or less the same lap times as the overall fuel load drops and the tyre life increases as well.
Yes, and let's just have a little look-see at what Silderford is doing here in P9. Just having a comfortable race. I think he heard us. Look, there he goes. That's his way of saying hi.
He's saying my tyres are cold.
Yeah, but no pressure. But yeah, sitting comfortably in P9, just 2 seconds off the car ahead. Those guys, this little group here with Karma too, just trying to close down the gap to Roscoe up there with a hard tyre. I'm just going to have a quick look back and see what's happening here. Oh my lord, I don't know what's happening here. Some connection issues. That was terrifying. Just a couple of tenths off the back of BP there.
Yeah, so hopefully our drivers aren't experiencing the same jitteriness that we just got there, because that could be very problematic.
Okay, that was, but yeah, look at it. Hustling him through the... Oh!
BP into the pits? Or into the...
Yes, he comes looking for an undercut. BP into the pit lane. Ford there showing he's still got pace. 32.2. Fastest lap of the race. And yeah, look at that. I think that says a lot. I mean, wow, look at the gaps really just opened up this lap. 4 seconds from Plebs to Ford. Ford pushing along on the medium tyre. BP on those soft tyres looking to go to the end. But 19 laps seems like a bit of a stretch considering they only went about 10 just then.
I think that should be okay with the lower fuel load towards the... Ooh, that's a way to cut the corner and probably get a warning straight away. But with the lower fuel load, those tyres will last a little bit longer. I feel like there's still plenty of life in them just then. He's just using that strategic advantage. He did slow up Plevs a little bit into that last sector, which might have been what we were seeing there. And he's going to have some serious pace on these new softs, so we'll be able to compare that to Ferrari Pro and Wogboy as he makes his way through the traffic. And we'll see if Plevs reacts, whether he's going to come in or stay out for an extra few laps and then have that extra pace towards the end of the race.
Yeah, indeed. He's just got to not get held up with this traffic. Well, we call it traffic. It's not really traffic, but he's got to peel his way back through the pack. And, yeah, there you can see the recharge activated. Ooh, he's going to go for a look down the inside. Yes, he is. What a move down through the inside of turn 11. That was a very nice move from BP there. Takes advantage. I think Ferrari Pro wasn't really expecting that. Takes advantage, just dives down. Plebs staying out this lap. Silderfort also, let's mention him. He's right on the back of Karma, as I was just talking about earlier. Just been closing that gap. I don't know if Karma's got an issue, because look at that. He's caught it right up to the back of him and really hustling the rear of that McLaren.
Karma's staying out, so presumably nothing's happened there. Wogby has left the session. I'm going to assume that's going to action issue thing, because his time has dropped off a little there, so he might be AI at the moment. Alright, sort of for being smart, he's saving it until that main DRS strat. Don't let us distract you.
Yeah, he's a bit low on the energy at the moment. Yeah, BP just making the position there on Wogboy, and that's allowed for iPro also to catch up to Wogboy. And Wogboy's back in now, so it's cost him dearly. And yes, coming down there is Karma's sticking to the racing line. Silverfort moves over to the left down the inside, and it's a pretty straightforward job there through into turn 8, turn 9. Silverfort a little bit spicy on the exit there, but up into P8 he goes there, and looks like Wogboy's still ghosting Ferrari Pro up through there, and yeah, BP 15 seconds off the next car ahead, so he's got a bit of work ahead of him, and I'm sure Karma also is not giving up on this little battle here. Silderfort's had to use quite a bit of energy to get past him, and might leave him a little bit vulnerable coming down into the next set of straights.
So I guess now that we've seen Plebs stay out, he'll probably be wanting to stay out for a couple of laps, so that he's doing a completely different strategy, well, slightly different strategy, rather than just pitting a lap later and losing that position. Of course, BP had penalties anyway, so Plebs is aware of that. His race is really with Ford, so we'll have to see how that strategy plays out, whether he comes in with maybe 13 laps to go or 12 laps to go even. So that those softs are super racy, but he will have to peel his way back through the traffic. We'll see how that. Oh, that was a little bit saucy on that curb. But good save.
And that's
He's
really
got
compromised
DRS.
his run now, hasn't it?
Well, luckily he was already over the timing line, having that little incident, so he got the DRS to help him catch back up. So might have to just wait an extra lap and then be a little more cautious on that curve.
Yeah, indeed. Let's whilst that has, I was going to say while it's settled down, but he's right up on the back of him still. And I was going to take a look at this move from earlier with BP getting past Ferrari Pro down the inside of turn 11. Just look at that, just on the soft tire, a lot more confidence. Ferrari Pro probably not expecting the move, and job done down the inside there. Not a place you see often moves getting done, but BP managing to pull that one off.
Yeah, really clean racing from both of them. Really good. Probably not Ferrari's fight, so he's done the right, the smart thing and made sure there's no contact through there. But really great overtake.
Well, he could. Ferrari could still challenge that with the penalties. Looking at the penalties, though, I mean, Ferrari Pro does have 9 seconds. BP with 12 now, so yeah, probably right about that one. But again, Karma just seemed to struggle a little bit through that final section of Sector 1 and just dropping off a little bit back. I would not be surprised if that is due to Silverfort's higher downforce levels just helping out through that first sector a little bit more. Obviously, we don't know what the other driver is running, but he just he seems to be very strong through that part of the track.
I think we can expect to see Roscoe pick up a few places towards the end here. Obviously, he's on those hards, so he'll be going straight to the end unless there's an incident. But he's got no penalties, which is the main thing. There are a few drivers ahead of him that absolutely will have to pit. Well, at least one that must pit and 3 that might pit. So within that, he'll probably be a good roadblock where people can't get past him, and then also clear 9 or 12 seconds depending on what the amount of penalties they might have. So Roscoe doing a really good job to stay penalty free, which always makes the difference.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, and those penalties they're pretty hefty ones too. It's not just a mere 3-second one. There's a 12, a 9, 6, and so yeah, and there's still a bit of a ways to go, so still plenty of time to pick up. Unfortunately, Silverforce has just picked up another one as well, and he's up to 9 now, so that's really going to hamper him. And they've come up right up to the back of Roscoe here as well, as such is the pace of that medium tyre over the hard tyre. I think Silverforce is going to be, look at that, Roscoe going defensive already, moving to the inside, trying to break the slipstream a little bit, moves back onto the racing line, which he's entitled to do, and yeah, he's not going to be quite close enough on this attempt, but yeah, those medium tyres seem a lot stronger even through that little short section through the chicane. BP picking up another penalty. That is a Plevs in the pits too. Plevs in the pits. And so is that a Ferrari in the pits too? Yeah, that's Noah though. He's moving on some fresh, soft, and same with Plevs. But see how much.
Let's see where Plevs comes out here. That'll be really interesting.
Yeah, he's lost quite a lot from that undercut that BP had.
Yeah, I wonder if that's. Well, it's going to be okay because of the penalties, but.
Well, he's going to have that much fresher tyres at the end. I think BP was actually going to struggle in the latter part of this race. There's,
yes,
almost 20 laps on those soft tyre. That's quite a lot. Jeff reckons you can only do 13 on them, and we all know Jeff is he's a bit of a messiah on the tyre wear.
That's it. Alright, so Silverfort coming right up the back of Roscoe here, so hopefully he'll be able to make that move on the straight, obviously having the tyre advantage, but Karma's really taken advantage of that, and he's right up the back of Silverfort as well. So let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, Roscoe, stop.
Roscoe's got some serious straight line speed.
What just happened there? No, I heard a lift from Silverfort there. When just as we switched the onboard, there was a huge lift. In fact, we can go back and have a look at that. I'm sure there was a lift. Watch his throttle. The brakes are on. He had his brakes on. You see that?
Maybe Sildy might want to check out those Logitech pedals and see if you've got some. You might need to put a dead zone on that brake.
Yeah, they are. They are.
We've heard about those issues on the forums before.
Yep. So I don't know if that was on purpose or not. I just wonder. I wonder. The Alpine boys coming up together as well. I'm sure that a bit of team orders there. That Wogboy's not going to be holding up Plebs for too much, considering they're on completely different strategies. And when is Silverfort going to see? Do you see that brakes coming on there again on the straight?
I didn't see it. I can't. Yeah, but I believe you.
I think yes. I think he's just being a bit patient there, but I kind of find it weird he didn't choose to make the move. But especially with Karma breathing down his neck, though. That said, Karma hasn't really got as close as one would expect. A lift of the throttle, I would have thought would be enough, rather than using the brakes. Oh, he's getting it all crossed up through turn 6, and luckily it hasn't cost him too much time. But Karma is now right behind him. Now he's put a bit of extra pressure on himself here. Pulls out. Roscoe does look pretty strong, but Karma's also looking. He's having to go defensive now. It's going to be pretty wide coming through here, but excellently done there. I think Karma might have backed out of that one slightly.
Karma gets the job done on Roscoe though, so keep moving forward through.
Yeah, Roscoe did seem to have quite a bit of straight line speed on them. It didn't make it too easy for them coming down there. Ooh, they looked a bit sideways there. Yeah, also, the other McLaren having a little bit of a look at the Aston Martin of Bags down around turn 11. Plebs got past Wogboy. He's also looking at Ferrari Pro, and this looks very close just up ahead. I might just actually quickly have a look at this. These guys are very close. Oh, that's a lovely camera shot there. Overhead shot. And yeah, Ferrari holding that, just making life difficult for the Alpine. But I think when we get onto this straight now, it's going to be all over for Ferrari Pro. Whoa. a little bit of lag happening there again. Yeah, it seems to be every time we change to Plebs that we have some strange lag issues. But yeah, like I said before, Plebs just getting the move done there. But Ferrari Pro is definitely open now to Wogboy behind him. And let's just take a quick look at that move again with a 3 moment there between CC. Silverfort moves over to cover off Karma. And there's Karma there. He's got that tight line on the inside though, and Silverfort takes that lovely line down the center and just gets the job done there on these guys. Roscoe being the biggest loser out of that one, and yes, the Plebs lagging all around the track. I wonder what's going on. Maybe he's got some connection issues. Wogboy not managing to make a move on Ferrari yet, but he's definitely hustling the back of that Ferrari. I just wonder if now the hard tyres are starting to come into their own a little bit, and the medium tyres potentially starting to struggle just that little bit more at this stage. Are you still there? Have I lost you?
I was just in the bathroom.
Oh. Comfort break.
I did send you a message, but that's all right.
I'm busy
looking at the cars go vroom. All right, what did I miss?
You missed. I played a replay. You missed my lovely replay system, and then also.
Oh yes.
Yeah, just sort of keeping out. These battles are actually starting to heat up a little bit. Saint has got past Bags, but Bags is definitely looking to challenge this. These two guys, 10th and 11th, but still battling hard all the way to the end now as we're approaching. We're approaching getting to that 10 lap. Oh no, Bags has picked up a penalty. 10 laps, getting a little bit sideways around. And I was just raising the topic of, I think that the hard tyres are now starting to come into their own a little bit. We might see some of the guys struggle on that medium tyre. Bags not going to be quite close enough on this occasion coming into turn 8. Who else have we got? Wogboy still stuck behind the Ferrari. getting a little bit frustrated behind that Ferrari, I'd imagine. And yeah, on that hard tyre, I think Ferrari Pro is just starting to struggle just that little bit. And you can see him charging his battery down the straight, but Wogboy also on very low levels at this stage. Both of the guys on low levels of battery. Also other battles. Yes, once again it's happened. We're getting to these closing stages. Suddenly a lot of the cars are closed up as the strategies converge upon each other, and there's just battles happening all over the track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this soft at the end strategy works for Plebs, because whilst, yes, BP has penalties, he really should have been pushing to stay ahead of Lewis, because he was, 4 seconds up after the double stacks, but it hasn't really paid off the soft. It seems to have the pace advantage that you would think compared to the medium tyre. Unless those medium tyres are really going to drop off in the last 5 laps, but we've only got 10 left and they've made it this far quite solidly, so it'll be interesting to see if we see Ford, Lewis, or Ferrari Pro, or Karma, or even Saint as well. So many drivers on those mediums and assumably hoping to take them to the end.
You mean, of course, Leo, not Lewis.
Sure, I can't read any of those letters from this far away, but that's fine.
Leo in the other Mercedes.
In weirdo. In the Mercedes. All right.
Yes, the Merc boys, but Wogboy's just struggling to get past the Ferrari at the moment. I wouldn't just trimmed down that downforce a little bit in the Ferrari. He's just playing a little bit of a patient game, just waiting for the medium tyre to go off, because I don't think he's going to have any issues like that with the hard tyre. I think that's going to be going no problems to the end. And the medium tyre just might start to give way just that little bit, coming into the final 10 laps.
Do we have a penalty difference between Wogboy and Ferrari Pro, or are they in the same?
There is. That's also maybe why Wogboy is taking a little bit more patient.
Yes, if he just sticks to where he is and tucks in under the DRS, he'll be able to take that position. Even with the gaps, BP has enough penalties that BP might be dropping down to 7th by the look of it. Or
well,
6th.
Don't forget the other guys' penalties too.
Yeah, true.
It'll be hard to tell. 9. He might hold on to. No, he might hold on
Ferrari
to P5.
BP. Ish. Probably not actually. Oh no, it would. Yep. I think right now Ferrari Pro and BP are pretty much at the same point with those penalties.
Yeah. I mean, there's still enough laps left to go. That can all change. There's probably not too much point doing too much maths at this stage.
Or ever again.
But yeah, look at these two hard runners. There's Wogboy in P6 and Roscoe in P9, trying to make a move on the medium runners in front of them, and it just can't seem to get close on the straights. I really think that just that Ferrari is
struggling for traction at the part of the last corner, and then also as you mentioned, there might be a setup difference there.
Yeah, let's just watch this exit through here on board with the Alpine. Bit cautious, but he winds it on nicely and gets he's actually got a good run this time, but then it sort of stalls out a little bit here. Both of the boys using their battery. Yeah. He's just got enough battery, does Ferrari, just to keep Wogboy ahead as he picks up another penalty.
Now they have the same amount. Both have 9 seconds now. So now he's got to push, take that position.
Yeah. It's a little bit of pressure off Ferrari Pro. Puts the pressure on Wogboy now that he's got to do it on track now, not afterwards. And Roscoe also not quite close enough on the McLaren to get the move done. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit frustrating for these guys. Of course, Roscoe doesn't have any penalties. One of the few drivers in this race, along with Plebs and Ford, who do not have penalties. And let's just mention Ford. We haven't spoken about him for a while. He has just opened up that lead at the front. That extra stop on the soft tyres, going aggressive, just has not worked out for these guys.
Yeah, really great race from Ford so far. Extremely solid, not a single penalty, so hats off.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most difficult, but fairly difficult track to, I think, to keep it penalty free. It's so easy just to cut, say, turn 1 or turn 2, just go that bit wide or just cut it and pick up a warning / penalty. Very easy to do, but yeah, those guys have kept it clean and kept the car up in that lofty position too. So good job on them. I wonder if Wogboy, he is a little bit closer this lap. For iPro, less energy. This could be it here, or no, he backs out of it.
Yeah. Maybe we should see if Roscoe's going to try and make the same move. He's catching. He was a little closer. Well, let's see.
It seems close.
Exactly the same thing.
They've got a lot more energy. Medium. And yeah,
Roscoe, however, does not have. Ooh, he's not even using the slipstream. Maybe he doesn't want to take it with his 0 penalties.
Just getting a little bit closer, I think. He's just sort of biding his time. He doesn't. I don't think he has to rush anything, like you said with the penalties. Just sort of biding his time, and just waiting to get that much closer to make the move stick, because he doesn't want to get re-overtaken on the next pass.
That's right.
Definitely can see.
Looking a lot closer now, though. What boy is?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Gonna be he's definitely hustling that a bit more, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's been charging his battery. More importantly, he's just been getting more and more every lap, whereas Ferrari Pros has been going down, and it's gonna be very vulnerable now. Just got to get this sector hooked up nicely, and I definitely do think that hard tire is starting to come into play over the medium. But Ferrari Pro gets a good exit coming out of turn 6-7. And the gap has opened up. Look at that through there. It's not worked out at all.
The traction that Ferrari Pro must have through that corner, obviously, is deploying theirs in the exit there. But the DRS is almost only helping him keep up on that stroke.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe I'm wrong in that medium, so I'm still hanging on very nicely. I mean, I think it can definitely, go to the end, but just at what state? Not going to be at its most optimal state at the end. The same with Roscoe there, just cannot get the move done on the McLaren. What about Bax? Can he have a little go coming down into this section? Not close enough either. Just everyone just closing up, but just quite able to convert that into a successful move.
Yeah, Bax is really coming up real close to Saint. Wogboy is a little further back here, but that's probably not a bad thing. You want to keep the distance so you don't get that dirty air through the first sector. Get a good run into the main DRS straight.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do. He's just
okay, BP just dropped down to last and then to third. Just double checking that was a timing glitch, because that would have been big news. It's all good.
Yep, I think that was just. We seem to be having quite a few of those in the combox today. Glitches. That seems to be the word of the day. And yeah, once again, just what's happened here? PRL Saint left the session. Oh no, he's disconnected. That's that's terrible for him. But obviously, great news for Bags, who now inherits that position up to P10. And yeah, that's not ideal with 48 laps out of 53 having some sort of connection issue.
No, not at all.
This fight though is going to go down to the final lap. I'm sure 5 laps to go, and yeah, these two racing for position, I believe, still. Let's just bring up those penalties once again. 9 seconds for each of the two drivers, Ferrari Pro and Wogboy. I'm going to leave it on the penalties just in case there's anything.
He's close now.
He is. I don't think he's going to go for the move there. We've seen from him in the past he's been backs out of that one. And just, I don't think it's worth it. Ferrari has such a good exit coming out of the Sector 2 that, well, maybe it is worth going down for a move there. Considering he cannot make the move. Yeah. He can't seem to make the move here because Ferrari has such a good exit. Maybe he needs to make the move there. He's got a lot of energy saved up, unlike Ferrari. Maybe he can have a go and and hold it through here. Because look again, once again, it's just opened up. It's just not, and he's dropping a little bit as well. So just cannot get as good an exit as Ferrari out of that section. Maybe that's the play here. Try something different at this stage. I mean, what have you got to lose? You've got to, you know, just try. The strategy is not working. He's been doing it for 10 laps or more and just hasn't managed to pull it off.
Unless he's fooling us and he's waiting until the last lap to make that move so that he can retain that position on those. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that would be about right. These guys always like doing that. There's shouts of commentators curse, shouts of, "Oh, you silly, you've said the wrong thing." Endless abuse from these guys. But no, we love it. We love the abuse. It's good fun. Yeah, Roscoe. Yeah, it just seems to be stuck in. I have a hatred for the hard tyre, and I think this is sort of proving my point about. Once again,
make the move.
Yeah, well, like, come on, just do it.
A little closer coming into this section than it was last lap.
Yep, but then
can he stick with him? It's just on that exit leading onto the straight.
Oh, this looks much better this time round. He's throwing it into the corner. Look at that, much harder, almost on the edge of. Well, he looked like he was on the edge of grip there, but much better coming through there, and he's a lot closer.
Here we go. He's gonna get it done. Let's see. Pulls out to the left, and he's got clearance. Great overtake. Now, can he hold that position for the next 3 laps?
I mean, that's the thing now. He's got 3 laps, well, 3.5 laps to go. Can he hold on to that? Ferrari Pro obviously does not have any energy, and he's going to be very vulnerable here.
I think Wugboy is deploying right now and trying to get away early before he's used 35% of his since the start of that run for the overtake. Will he get a second out? He's almost already cleared the second, and he's done it. There you go.
But there's no to the line yet. The line's here. Yes, you're right. He just. There you go. Well, what's happened here? Change for BP in the pits. Could not take those soft tyres to the end.
2 extra laps. That's a strange decision, unless he's going for fastest lap, which would still be strange with 21 seconds per penalties. Not sure what the play is there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he figured he was going to drop so far down the order anyway with the penalties. I guess he probably couldn't see some of the other guys' penalties. But,
he probably didn't realise that he would have only dropped... Oh, no, actually, you can see where he's dropped to. His current penalties don't actually drop him. Wait, we're still letting the computer catch up as Silverfoot approaches that. But, I mean... There you go. That's an extra position for our featured driver, sort of thought, if he can hold on to the current gap.
Indeed. I mean, I think he wants that fastest lap. He's already got a few under his belt from this season. If I have a double check, BP holds 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 8 fastest laps, and if he gets another one, it'll be 5. Ford holding the other 2, and Chronic Saints holding one of them. So obviously wants that fastest lap award of the season. They're holding the most. Now the question is, can our other hard tyre runner make this move? He's got 1.5 laps left. He's just lost probably one of the best overtaking spots on this track, so it's not looking good for him. Ferrari Pro has just fallen off the back of Wugboy now, and hardly surprising. I think he was just holding on, and if he did not get into that DRS, then that was going to be a bit of a slam dunk for him. But yeah, Roscoe's got it all to do in this last lap now, which they've just started coming into. No, they won't be starting. It's these guys are slightly further behind, so they'll be coming on to the penultimate lap now. They'll be still on lap 51 of 53, and when they cross the line, it'll be lap 52. So they still have a little bit of time to make the move. The other guys are so much further ahead that. Ford's coming into the last section now of the track, so yeah, Roscoe's got a little bit more time to try and get this move done.
That's right, but he's dropped back a little bit here at the start of the first sector. Will he push? He's moved another 10th up, but Gotta try and get a run onto that main straight, or try and get it done early.
Indeed, he's saving his energy a bit more, but I think now's the time he's got to use that energy. He's got to catch up and to make that position. Well, if he wants to make the on-track pass, in the end, all those penalties from the drivers ahead are going to promote Roscoe to, you'd say, P6.
Yep.
So
P6.
he's going to get it anyway, but I know a lot of these guys love making that on-track pass, and I'm sure that Roscoe is not too much different from a lot of the others. Can he do it? That is the question. As the guys have started, the top runners have started the final lap now. Ford leading the pack by a good 10 seconds, and it's been a really commanding drive, I would say, from Ford. Even though he didn't grab pole, Leo snatched it off him, and obviously Leo suffering from that double stack that really impacted his race because he was in the lead. But you'd say that Ford's pace has been pretty commanding with that 10-second gap now over his
absolutely
over his teammate.
I think that's alright, keep going.
and Plebs and BP on that alternate strategy with the two soft just didn't pay off, really, did it? It seemed like it might have been a good idea, but they just couldn't convert that pace. That Ford just had too much pace today for them. And this is going to be Roscoe's final attempt here as Ford comes around the last corner. I do want to just stick on board with this, even though Ford is coming across the lap right now to take the victory in France here. Is Roscoe going to be close enough to take this position? Not quite. And then his teammate comes across in P2 across the line. Plebs is going to be coming across in a few moments to take the final spot on the podium, penalty free. And I don't want to miss this. If something happens here between Roscoe and Karma, I do not want to miss this final bit. And yeah, Plebs there securing P3, Alpine P3 and P4. Great. I take that back. Ferrari Pro moves up into P4 as penalties. I forgot there's the penalties moving around, and looks like these guys are gonna finish on track in this position, but obviously the penalties will move that around. Yes, Ferrari Pro into P4, but it's still a good strong finish from the Alpines there. P3 and P5.
Ooh.
That's some good points for them today. And there you go, there's their Roscoe getting the positions from the other penalties up to P6, so very good job from him. I wonder if I can position change there. Up 5 positions. Karma also up 6 positions. Silderfort up 1 position from me, starting in P8, as we were talking about at the start with him, P8. So that was his target. And you know what? Now that they finished, let's just bring it in quickly. Silderfort, are you still there?
Hey,
how congratulations, P8. How did you go?
hello?
Hello? Yes, we can hear you. You are here.
You cut out there for a second.
Say again?
Yeah,
Yes.
not ideal with the
Not
speed
ideal.
and the 12 seconds of penalties, but I still had somewhat good pace. Caught up to Scope and Armor at the end, so yeah.
But yeah, long race and a bit of spice there in the middle with that wet weather. That was unexpected.
I swear it didn't show any rain at all. I was not lying. The team put a fast one on me.
Well, yeah, it certainly made things a little bit interesting. But how did you go in the wet? Was your car okay?
Yeah, a bit struggling a bit on the traction, but yeah, that was fine.
Well, yeah, but P8's not too bad in the end. I guess up 1 position from where he started, and that's just it's consistency. It's a good consistent finish, and keep doing that, and it'll go pretty good. As we see the podium boys coming out now, Mercedes 1 and 2 there with the Plebs in P3, and yes, thanks for joining us today, Silderfort. It was a pleasure to have you. Pleasure to get to know you.
Yep, my pleasure as well.
Good, and yes, good luck. Where are we next week? We are in Belgium. So how are you excited for that?
I like the track, but not the track that Codemasters made. Dog shit.
Oh, that's harsh. That's
Fuck.
harsh. Oh.
Everything is wrong. How did they mess up that bad? Oh god.
It's my favorite track, so unfortunately,
Yeah,
you're not going to get any sympathy from me.
It's a nice track. Not on this team.
Fair enough. And that's the final race positions there for you, with the Ford, Leo Azuedo, Plebs with the top 3, Ferrari Pro, GeForce Walkboy, VSR, Roscoe, BP, Karma, Silderfort, and Bags rounding off your top 10 with the PRL Saint and Noah in P11 and P12 are retirees, Ventani and Rude. Unfortunately, I managed to get through all of those before it closed. That was skills.
Very, very good. Good thing they're only 14 and not 20, otherwise you'd be struggling.
Indeed. Alright, and that's our calendar up there for you guys. You can see we are in Belgium, which is an absolutely amazing track. Be quiet, Silderfort. And we are super looking forward to that next weekend. Silderfort might not be, but I in the commentary box are 100%. So once again, thank you to Silderfort for being our interviewee, and thanks also Josh for joining me in the com box today. I managed to grab you when you had some spare time, and it's good to see you back up here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks from all of us here at